Hello, welcome to In Some Loosemore. My name is Dieter Loosemore and you join me for a design discussion. I want to venture a little bit into the world of production, by which I mean the physical object that you get, the product. And for me, regardless of all the design, regardless of the game, regardless of the art we'll talk about another time, the physical product, for me there are three key areas that distinguish one production from another. And I'd like to talk about one of them today, and this is the insert, whether there is one or not. What I mean is, inside the box, yes, there's all the pieces, but once you open the box, what do the pieces live in? What do the production company, the publishers, give you to house all the pieces in between playing games? Because a lot of people, like me and lots of others, might put their games on their end, and so things can kind of move around. When they're lying flat, it's fine. Even some publishers, I'm just looking behind me here, there we go, will create a side of the box to stand that way. So do they have something inside that will hold all your pieces together, or how do they get around that? Now, lesser productions, if I can say lesser, have nothing, and just you put all the pieces in. That's the very, very basic level. It's just a box, and you put stuff in, and you've got to figure it out every time you've opened the box. I don't think I've even seen one of those in a long time. Bare minimum is a cardboard insert, which is generally just a bit of cardboard that's been folded to meet the size of the box and creates a well for all the pieces to go in, so at least they're not moving around too much. Problem with this, if you do store them on their end, is that they can sag and bend and get beaten up, and eventually you might just chuck them away. So another solution publishers put in, which for me is the bare minimum, is baggies, by which I mean little plastic bags, usually the little seal top ones, to be able to separate the pieces, so that when you open your box, even if there's no cardboard insert or anything like that, you can just go, okay, here's the money, here's the wooden pieces, here's the player pieces, here's whatever. You get to separate up the pieces so that firstly they're not all mixed up, and it makes setting up the game much easier, but also then protects the different components. If you've got things of different colours and they're wooden and a slightly cheaper product, maybe we'll talk about components another day, you might get them rubbing and chipping, and it's not great. So at least these plastic bags serve as a means of protecting them a little, and as I say, making setup much easier, because you just, for me personally, I put all starting materials for one player in one bag so that I can open the box and go, okay, here's your stuff, here's your stuff, here's my stuff, get ready, let's go. Just makes the game much easier. Then the level up from that is an insert, a plastic insert, generally with either well-designed universal wells or specifically designed wells. This little pocket is for these things, this little pocket is for these things, and they might be different shapes or have a symbol. The best ones of these show you the thing that's supposed to live in there. And so it's just really clear, again, when you're setting up and tearing down, everything goes here. It just makes it much quicker. You don't have to think about how you're stacking all these things. It's not a puzzle in a game just to put the game away. It goes, oh, you put all the cards there. Okay, fine. Yeah, you put all the apples in this place. Oh, okay, good. Just makes the game much easier, much clearer. Potential issue with this, though, is that if you store them a different way up, or you're transporting them from one place to another, they get moved around, all the pieces can kind of slip around. And so when you open the box, yes, mostly things are in the right place, but not always. And so then the step above that, the premium solution has been, I don't know, I was going to say pioneered, I couldn't say that for a fact, but certainly popularized by a company called Game Trays, with a Z. And they are modular inserts, I think is the easiest way to describe it, with lids. And this just solves all of those problems. Not only does everything have a place, not only is each container designed to hold a specific thing, but then you've got the lid, the snap-on top, so that when the box gets thrown around and whatever happens to it, when you open it up, everything is where it should be, everything's in the condition it should be, so it provides the protection of the baggies with the ease of the plastic insert. And instead of, so something like Vindication, instead of a baggie with all the starting pieces in, each player has their own game trays, and so you just hand them the container with all the stuff in, and you don't have to pour it all out. You can use it as the game goes on. It can be where you store some stuff in some games. Others it is just to store it in, like Vindication, as I mentioned. Once you've got your trays, you kind of empty it out, put it off to the side. You'll need it again to pack it away. Whereas games like Dwellings of Eldervale, once you get your tray, your container, yes, you take the top off, but then actually half the stuff inside stays inside, and you use that as your player area. And so they've just come up with, I'm sure there's other companies doing it as well, come up with these very intuitive and helpful ways of making the game easier to play, easier to set up, easier to pack away, which is brilliant, particularly when you're potentially playing hour, maybe up to 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour, some games, long games. The minimizing of that setup and teardown is hugely helpful for the players. You don't want 10-20 minutes of setup and 10-20 minutes of teardown when you've already played for 2 hours, because then you're at 2.5 hours and it's just, it's a greater commitment, so that ease is brilliant. However, the other side is always cost. These are always a luxury thing, this top end. That's why I say, for me, the basic is baggies. If a game comes without baggies, I will probably avoid that publisher. And then there are those top games, I've mentioned a couple of them already, that just go beyond that, give you those separate trays, but the cost is typically that much higher because, you know, they've got to design each of those boxes. They've got to use more plastic than a generic plastic insert to house everything. And so it is more of a waste, and so it is more expensive, and so you've got to balance that. Where does it sit for you for value? But that for me is just one of the markers of the level of production a company will give you. When I open the box, what do I see inside? What do I find? How am I going to house this game? How am I going to keep it nice? How am I going to how long am I going to take to set it up and tear it down based on how you've helped me? These things just shout out to me the designer's intention and the publisher's intention for my enjoyment or not. Let me know what you think down in the comments, all the usual things. Thank you very much for watching. Do consider subscribing to the channel if you don't already. Hit the bell icon to stay updated when I put out new stuff. Find me on social media, like, follow, share, subscribe, usual, whatever. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Dieter for Win Some Loosemore. Bye.